All right, take 3. Hi, this is Annie from Melbourne. I wanted to come on here today to show you a few things that I've been up to. I've started to film 3 times, well, this is the 3rd time, because I was advised very kindly that natural light would do the trick. And now the sun keeps coming out, even though it's a cold winter's day, so I've just had to shut the blinds. But I want to welcome you and thank you for joining me. Thank you particularly to those lovely 6 subscribers who I think I know most of them, but I hope I do. But I do have a feeling that you're all people that I do admire and respect and watch sometimes on YouTube. And I wanted to thank you for your support and encouragement. And I wanted to reciprocate now by showing you what I've been up to in the last couple of weeks. It's Monday, 1st of July, our first day of school holidays. Even though I'm a retired teacher, I have been doing some casual teaching, not as much this term because we've had some multiple medical appointments to go to. My husband has had some issues with his legs, so I've been taking him to a large city hospital every fortnight and doing dressings. I've also just recovered from a bout of vertigo last 3 days, which wasn't fun. I don't know if any of you've ever had that. That's had it once last year, and I didn't think it'd come back, but it did. But I'm okay now. I've just shut the blind on one side a little bit because the sun was glaring through, so we'll see how we go, but I might have to reopen that, a little bit more sunshine in shortly. I wanted to welcome you and say thank you for inspiring me these last few weeks while I've been home. In my quiet times when I've been wanting to do some crafting, I've been doing a lot of knitting and crochet. I've also started a quilt, as you can see behind me. It's still a work in progress. I went and bought a big board from a local hardware store and covered it with some special fabric that the fabric sticks to. So I've just been playing around with configurations there. It's called a drunkard's path, but I'm trying to do it a little bit differently. And these fabrics behind me, if you can see, actually some of them were donated. I made a call out last year on Facebook and Instagram because I'm starting a new sort of small business / charity project where I've asked people to donate yarns and fabrics and fibre, also knitted and crochet swatches and granny squares, and about 10 people sent me a whole array of wonderful things which I've incorporated into up to, I think it's 38 blankets, crochet and knitted. And now I'm just starting on the sewing bit, so this will be the first of those quilts that I hope to sell, and 50% goes to a variety of charities both in and out of Australia. And I consult with those who have donated me resources, and I also have my own personal groups that I support over many years when I used to work in Zimbabwe, and I also have connections in South Africa and Uganda at the moment. But I also support many other groups and organisations, and this is my way of giving back as an individual in this world, giving back something with my skills that I was taught many years ago, and I'm still learning all the time. So that's a bit of fun. That's been sitting against our bedroom cupboard wall for a few months now, but and it's been so cold I just want to knit and do all the fibre arts, yarn, work with yarn at the moment, but it will be fun to put all that together at some stage. So that's just in the background there, but the sun's just hidden behind the clouds, so we'll get on with it. I do have about a number of things to show you, one of which is my Habitation throw, which I made, where was it? Excuse me. I made this finished it about 2 months ago. It was predominantly made, nearly all the yarn used in this Habitation throw by Helen Stewart was made with a very indulgent and happy purchase from Camilla in Denmark, and she has I'll start at this end actually to show you better. She this year is doing a series on mushrooms, and she puts out a large skein and mini skeins for sock sets, but I thought I'd buy a few that I was interested in, and I would incorporate it into a beautiful fingering weight blanket. So this particular colorway here, the light pink moving into the graduated darker pinks, that's one mushroom she was inspired by actually an Australian photographer who I forgot his name, I'm sorry, but he photographs such an array of unusual mushrooms that you wouldn't even comprehend existed, and that was one particular mushroom set, this pinky going into the darker colours. And then I was lashed out and bought her next set of mushrooms, which is quite a strong colour for me, but it worked into this sort of a limey yellow lime, and then it goes into this amazing pink limey one here. So those three colours, if you can see, 1, 2, 3, that's another mushroom set. And then I bought the final mushroom was I think, hang on, no, I think I bought, oh, there was a yellow in that too, and then no, it was the orange, yellow, and then this another one. So it was 3 mushroom sets, and then I still had some of mini skeins of hers, this beautiful sort of a dark blue, it's for the budgie blue that she's got, and this was a very special skein I bought from her. I think it was called Machuengo. Her daughter was working doing some volunteering in Tanzania, and she designed, based on a beautiful photograph of some local women in Tanzania, she designed and created this yarn here. See, the sun's coming out, but hopefully you can see it. I'm not very good at this, am I? Never mind. But it's a beautiful colourway that she based on these vibrant women walking in the community with their colourful clothing on, and she came up with this sort of a set, and the proceeds from this yarn here went back to the community or the school that her daughter was working at, which I found very special. Especially because I also used to work in a mission over in Zimbabwe for 4 years in my 30s. So that means a lot to me, that you can do things and support other people's with your skills. And then I also bought some her budgie. This is my favourite one here. I bought a few skeins of this. I was going to make a jumper, but I still got a couple of skeins, but I love this one. It's sort of browns and ducky blue, and that's one that I finished off the blanket in. So it's a Helen Stewart design. Very simple garter stitch, light fingering weight, and you think it will take forever, but it won't. And Helen's pattern, as you know, very clearly mapped out. I mean, this is you could do this one not quite with your eyes closed, but it's eyelets and garter. But I love a lot of Helen's designs. I haven't made many of them. I've done a pebble bit shawl, but I love how she writes her patterns. But that colour, this one, sings to me a lot. So that blanket here has been around my shoulders and my husband's body nearly every day when it's been really cold, and we've really enjoyed having that around us, keep us warm when we don't have the gas heater on. So that was one that I finished a couple of months ago, the Habitation shawl. Shall I just throw it on the ground? Yes. And just before we keep going, I'm wearing, this is a petite frill, no frills sweater or jumper. And this is made with Isega silk mohair and some beautiful bottle green, olive green yarn, fingering weight yarn I bought from Morris & Sons. And this is just a very simple raglan sweater that I made for myself 2 years ago. My husband kindly asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I asked if I could have some yarn. And this was the first jumper I've actually made since I've retired, and I haven't knitted or crocheted or embroidered and done all those things for a number of years every day, because I've been teaching, and I've been a senior teacher in a special school, and also I was a high school teacher for many years. So this was actually a very special jumper. It's not itchy, it's really nice, and it's just a cropped one, but it's very special that he got that yarn for me, and it sort of just initiated this love, this regeneration of love back into crafting. So that's the No Frills. Simple raglan, beautiful construction. Could have been a little bit longer maybe, but it's really nice and snugly warm as well. Another thing I've finished, this is a finished object, is the Zigzag Zen blanket by Ananina from Finland, and she's put out this very simple modular garter stitch blanket, and I've chosen a base of sort of a tweed 100% wool. Oops, wrong way around, sorry. I did that once before, didn't I? So I've chosen, maybe you can see it better this way if I start here, chosen a variety of different 100% wool yarns, and I've just knitted these modular sections. And this was actually, I won't stand up because it's hard to sort of get situated again, but this was a joy to knit in sections. Well, I don't know if you can see now. Just different colours. I actually started in this corner here, and then I worked my way down and across, so across and down until you get to the size that you want. And this sits happily on our couch, we've got a navy, second-hand navy leather blue couch, and this is really warm at night time when you've got the fire on even, or on your lap or whatever. So I really enjoy that. I really like the navy and the orange interplay there. And I used a few scraps. I think there's a bit of there's a red yarn here that I used. I haven't shown you yet, have I? But I used that for my husband's jumper. Did I show you that? I've forgotten. I might not have yet. That was in the previous take. But I've just used a variety of wools I had in stash and come up with this beautiful modular, really cozy blanket. That's the Zigzag Zen by Ananina in Finland. And on that note, with this one, I've also been inspired to continue, because I like to have a blanket on the go. I don't sell these ones that are with by designers and patterns, because they're copyright, and I respect all the works that's gone into those designs. I would never sell the ones with patterns or designs, but I do create my own, and they're the ones that I would sell and make some money for charities that I'm associated with. But now I've just started one. This is for my brother for his birthday, and Ivana from the Republic of Me has inspired me to use a lot of the neutrals and the dark, the browns, the greys, the tans, and that's been fun. That's again the same pattern, but now I'm using more neutral colours, and that's been fun. His birthday's in about 4 weeks' time, so I hope to give him that as a gift. He's a pretty special brother. I've got two. One I like more than the other, but they're both, they're both my brothers. But this guy, he's pretty special. So he's knit-worthy, as they say. So that's that one. That's the one still in progress at the moment. I don't know if I showed you my husband's jumper. I made that about 3 months ago. I've nearly finished it. It's been on Sleeve Island for quite some time, but he chose the wool. And this is Camilla's design. This is her big brother sweater that she made for her beloved big brother. And I asked my husband if he'd like a jumper, because I got into this, I was really in the zone. And he chose, for the top half, Maximu yarn is a young up and coming dyer in Victoria, Max, and this is called Blood Moon, and it's a beautiful pattern, very simple, but it's got this very special, it's almost like a saddle shoulder construction. So you've got garter on the front, then you've got this beautiful panel extending down the sleeves, and then you've got a stockinette back. So I bought him some, he chose the colour and the sort of matches his Essendon footy team, and then I went to, because it would have got a bit pricey after a while, and he's a big guy, 6'3", and I went to Spotlight, which is a sort of a cheaper store, and got some red 100% wool to finish off the bottom. And Job requested that I do the sleeve cuffs different colours just for a bit of edginess, and he's worn that heaps of times. It's very warm, very soft, and I'm glad I finally finished those huge sleeves. They go right down here like that, and it fits him really well and comfy. I also have got a few little labels. This one says Slow Stitched with Love by Annie, and You Are Loved, which he is. So that's his jumper. So that was, apart from this one, this is the second sweater that I've made in the last 2 years. That's that one. And this is almost finished. This I've been working on a secret project for a friend, a lady that I know, Minty, who has worked in Uganda, and that's how I met her. I think I told some of you, there's a pretty early video that you've seen. If you haven't, don't worry, you don't have to watch it. But I met a young woman in the Arts Centre a couple of years ago, Minty, and she and I have we've only met once, but we also, she has worked at the community centre in Uganda, and through her I am now also committing some resources to that community centre, and particularly a couple of kids and the mum, young single mum, Lillian, who was in pretty dire straits. So I'm happy to say that I'm able to support her with her children, those two older children, to go to school. But Minty is now also having a baby, and she's in Australia at the moment, and she hopes to return to Uganda. And I just made, it was a whim thing, you know, one of those cast-ons that you don't think about, but you just go ahead and do it. I think it was based sort of on that idea of modular, but I was just mucking around and I decided I'll do a baby blanket for Minty, and she's due in August, I think. So I went into my scrap basket, and I had some Advent yarn scraps left over, and I decided to just do like a little modular baby blanket. I sort of did some ribbing and did it from, you know, picked up stitches here and there. So this is, she hasn't got it yet obviously, but I'm about to weave in the ends, and I've just finished the border, and I even did a few eyelet rows here and there just to jazz it up a bit, and I finished the border the other day. So I've just got to do the last minute things. I've blocked it, I've washed it, and then I'm going to send it off to her, and hopefully she'll like it. I even, where is it? I even put on one of these little flowers that I get every time I order. Well, it's not a lot lately, but when I've ordered from a wool shop in Hastings, which is in Victoria, they always stick a little crochet flower on their thank you cards. So I've collected a few of those over the months, and I threw that on there just for a bit of fun. So that's a baby blanket I've completed. So that's blankets, 3 blankets. And then I started to get caught up in socks. I was watching a few podcasters, and I've never made socks before. I dabbled a little bit last year. I've never been taught how to make socks. I was always taught 2 needles, never circulars. That's all new for me too. But I decided to play around with some socks, And last year, so I'm just going to show you how I'm learning and progressing in my learning. But last year I was just mucking around and I decided to make some, this is just with acrylic yarn, and I don't know who's going to get them yet. I just kept them to there. I was just playing around with some colour work. Some of the patterns are from Linda from Barber Knits, beautiful Icelandic designer who works with Stephen, Penelope and Stephen. And this is, you purists and you clever people, you will know that this is a pattern that has got a seam down the middle, and good socks, I guess, or the majority of sock knitters do not seam at the back. But this is how I learnt, and this was a clever pattern I found. Jenny's socks, I think I found it on Ravelry, and so that's how I started to learn about socks, and it made it easy to do the colour work. So I did a few socks like that just to play around with colour work. So that's one that I just seamed the other day, and I don't know who's going to wear these, so I might gift them. It was good little practice pieces to do, so quite clever. You sort of start at the cuff, work your way down, then you do your heels on both sides and then the toe, and then you seam them up, and you end up with the sock. Can you see the detail there? So I just looked at some colour chart books that I had, and I was just playing around trying to figure out my tension and how I operate, and I just did on some acrylic yarn. I'm not a snob. I would use acrylic for a lot of different projects, but I've found in the last year at least I'm starting to get a taste for really good yarn, and it makes it more joyful to work with, but to practice with and to give it to your kids, or easy to care for. Acrylics, nothing wrong with acrylic. So that was another sock that I did. I tried to make them different, even though they might be a pair. I'm not pedantic about things being perfectly matchy. So this was another pair I played around with last year, looking at some charts that I had in books, and they haven't been seamed yet. And this was the final one. So again, acrylics. I tried a love heart there, worked my way down and did some different patterning, and the toe, and they just need to be seamed up at some stage. But now I've got a taste for socks, and I'm starting to explore a little bit more. Last year, while we were back and forth to the hospital, and I've been watching a lot of you guys, you knitters, I was learning about doing sock tubes. So I bought my first advent calendar end of last year, and first ever, I know, but it was so exciting. And every day, I bought it from Little Woolly Makes, and every day when I got an advent, I opened it, I would tie it on our Venetian blinds, our shutters in the dining room, and the little 10 grams, 10 gram bobble of yarn would just hang there with the tag of what sort of yarn it was. These are mostly from Maximu Yarns, Hedgehog Fibres. Little Woolly Makes also dyes, Max's mum dyes. So I just sort of, wherever we went for appointments, medical appointments, or when we had to wait somewhere, I would take one of these with me and just work away. I've never done a afterthought heel, and this now, after I've made a few more socks, I know this may need to be extended a little bit more for the toe and heel. So I'm bracing myself. I've been watching a few of you, how you do afterthought heels, and I reckon I can master it. But for now, because this is full play, I've just put a few markers there where I will possibly divide it, finish the toe and the heel, add a little bit more to extend it. And that's been fun, just incorporating my last scraps of Advent yarns into that. And then also, as I said, I received some donations from people for my charity project, and this was one yarn here. I think this was from Daniela. This is from Camilla leftovers from one of her mushroom, and I've just done a big long tube with the ribbing, and I may or may not have to extend that a little bit more to fit a average size foot, but that's another afterthought heel that will make a pair of socks. So I'm pretty chuffed that I'm able to do that. It's a nice portable, as you know, thing to do. But now I've gone a little bit further. I did one more Jenny sock pattern because I wasn't brave enough to try. I've got some new patterns to try them. Kath Martin from Melbourne, who has a podcast called Mindful Melbourne Makes. She's a lovely lady who I've been watching. She's put out a pattern for the Melbourne socks and the Canberra socks. Melbourne sock pattern is free on Ravelry, and I've just purchased the Canberra socks in honour of not only her design, but also that's where we had our honeymoon 20 years ago. But because I'm still not brave enough to try that, and I'm getting closer, I did one more pair of Jenny socks. Again, that construction, cuff down, right down to the heel, and then do the toe. Like Ivana does too, I just join up those last 6 to 8 stitches and sew them up like that. But this one was a little bit different because I've incorporated mohair, and I've used a Regia yarn, sort of a faux Fair Isle pattern. It's a cheat's way of doing Fair Isle or colour work. I thought it came out all right. Actually, I could wear a jumper with that actually, but it's nice and soft silk mohair I put into that, some Isaiah Zero, sort of really pale neutral beige colour. And as I was knitting the pair, where's the other one gone? As I was knitting the pair, I thought I'd finished, and I was very chuffed with myself. I realised one was longer than the other, so I had to add a bit more ribbing for this one. So again, they're sisters, not twins. And then I had this bright idea, or maybe not so bright, but I thought to mask that join that I did where it was joining up, I thought I would crochet just, you know, the chain stitch right along there, and I thought, I've just invented something new, but I don't think I have. But I just thought that's a bit of fun, so it sort of masks my failings, but just a bit of fun. And they're really nice and soft, and they fit my foot. I'm a size 10, Australian size 10, so they're quite nice and soft, and they just need seaming up now. And then I've got another pair of socks. So I've been on this sock wagon at the moment. And then while I was doing that, I went into my project bags that I had from last year, and I discovered this is how I would start the original Jenny socks. Is that the right way? No, this way. And this is using, where is it gone now? This is one of Regia's, you know, the self-striping yarns. So I found that, so I'm going to now tweak that. I'm not going to do the Jenny sock anymore. I'm going to be brave and try regular socks with heels, or do the new pattern that I've just fallen in love with. But they're fingering weight, and they obviously take longer than DK. So that's another pair that's halfway finished. So sock making is something I'm really enjoying at the moment. And then I was watching the playful knitter Marlene in Denmark, and she was talking about this pattern. It's going to be backwards, isn't it? So she was talking about the Gudrun socks, and this is a very clever construction where you don't have to do heel flap gusset. It's sort of all incorporated into one, and it's got ribbing on both sides. So it's I just found this really fascinating. I bought the pattern for DK and fingering, and I've just been playing around with this pattern at the moment, the Gudrun socks. It's on Ravelry, and I highly recommend that one until you're ready to do all sorts of different heel flaps and gussets. But this is one I've been playing with, And the first pair I made, I was very chuffed because I didn't have to do any seaming, was just a pair that I made for myself. I just went and bought some 100% just Australian wool, tweedy nips there, and then a bit of rust yarn that I had. But it's such a clever design. It looks really weird and awkward. It's just a very, oh sorry, there's something just came on the screen. I don't want to clean up now, but sorry. So it looks really unusual, but this toe looks really pointy, but when you wear it, fits my foot. It fits perfectly. It looks great. And then you've got this really unusual, this is actually the heel. So you've incorporated rib on either side, and then you've got, this is the heel part here. It's all knitted from cuff down, and when you've actually got it on the foot, it fits beautifully. Actually, so I've completed a pair for myself, or I might just use them as a sample pair or give them to someone at some stage. I just thought I'd just try a pair. I haven't done the sewing the bits yet, but that'll come. And now I'm making a pair for my brother, same pattern, and I tried these. This is one, I've got the second one on the go, and I'm using just scraps that I have lying around. A Gudrun pattern again, and he's got a big foot. He lives far away with his family, but I tried these on my husband the other night when I finished them. Again, lots of ends to sewing, but that's okay. And I've incorporated scraps and some mohair from this jumper, some of that silk mohair, just whatever I've got lying around. And I sort of knew he likes greens and blues and things, so that's one pair. And now the second pair in the kitchen are a little bit different again. So that is the Gudrun. It's really clever, and it looks so good on the foot. It fits well, and there's 4 different sizes, and I'm just having fun mucking around with that at the moment. That's sort of a pattern until I'm ready to do the others. I have books on different socks and different patterns, but I'm working my way up to that. But I'm really chuffed that I was able to get it looking sort of semi-professional, and I'm going to write to the designer and thank her for giving me the courage and also the joy of making some socks that actually look like socks and fit like socks. So that's special. So that's my sock journey so far. And I wanted to show you, these are just some of the little scraps I've got from Advents and bits and pieces, so I'd sort of dip into there. I've got other yarns too, but they're the leftovers from Advents and bits that I dip into, and I don't plan what colorways I do. I just want to be more intuitive about it, and it might come out a bit wacky and crazy, but I don't care. I like to just play with colors and see what happens, and you get some nice surprises that way. So that was very special to do. I'm nearly finished. I'm going to show you, I've got a couple more things to show you, and then I'll leave you alone. I wanted to every now and again show you some things that I've got in our home from the past. Some of you are, I don't know if I've mentioned, before I was a teacher, years ago, my first job actually, when I left school, and I actually hated school, but apart from the English and the arts, but my first job was 1 year in a Lee jeans factory, sewing jeans, and I was offered that position. I think I was nearly 18, and I worked there for a year because I wanted to be a chef at that stage, and I was taught how to sew by my grandmother. So the reason I'm telling you this is because I've had this history of sewing and crafting taught by both grandmothers, but predominantly my maternal grandmother. So I did a year of sewing jeans, you know, quotas over 1,000 a day, a bit of aerobics in between, and that gave me the I was mad about cooking and I wanted to be a chef, so I became an apprentice chef, and with that money saved from sewing jeans all year, the leg seams and the zippers and the pockets, I went to Paris, and I was just obsessed with French food and cooking, and from there I got jobs in different restaurants around the area that I lived in at the time, and then I had a career, nearly 10 years as a chef, both overseas and in Australia in different places. But then I wanted also to go back to school and become a teacher. Obviously, chefing is a quite demanding career, and you work long hours and do split shifts and weekends. And I decided to become a secondary school teacher. So at 25, I decided I didn't have to go back to school, but I decided to do 1 year in the high school that I originally used to go to as a mature age student, and I did my HSC, which is the final year. That was actually the last year of HSC in our state. And then I went to do 4 years in Melbourne as I did a home economics Bachelor of Education 4-year degree, specialising in home economics and English literature. Also studied textiles and clothing and food biology. So, and then I worked my way into special ed later in my 30+ career as a teacher, from secondary to special ed in the second half. But the reason I want to show you things every now and again to do with crafting is because I did study and love studying textiles and clothing at Rusden in Victoria, in Melbourne, and I've been decluttering a bit out of the cupboards of late, and I found all these this was part of an assignment I must have done at some stage. So I've been watching some of you guys learn spinning, or already very talented in your spinning and fibre arts journeys. And then I just wanted to show that I have also spun, and I've got lots of things I could show you, but I won't bore you too much. But I thought this one was a really interesting, I did some kind of a project trying, oh, it's upside down. But I looked at the luxury and unusual yarns, and we all had to do spinning with, you know, Angora, alpaca, raw cotton, flax, and there's the Angora there, amazing stuff. I remember that one was quite hard to spin. Oh, this one was onion, cackerel, I'm not sure where, some kind of a goat perhaps. Cotton tops, silk barrette, and camel hair. So we all had to do different projects with spinning and all sorts of weaving, inkle looms and things like that. And it's interesting getting some of this stuff out of the cupboard and remembering those times and now I'm seeing some of you exploring fibre and you know, from sheep to yarn, and I think it's fascinating. I'm not quite there yet. I think I'm still in that phase of really enjoying just some of the different yarns that we have in our world to try and see how they behave and see how they feel. And I already learnt that working with some beautiful top quality yarns makes it more joyful. But it's interesting looking at some of these projects that I did and some of the assignments that I kept. I think I used these also when I was teaching textiles in high school. So I kept them just to show the students that I was teaching again, and we tried different things. But that was a fun little find of many finds I have. And just to tie into that with the spinning, I also am blessed to come from a family. I'm not gifted in drawing, but both my brothers are quite talented artists, and my mum, she's gone now, but she actually wanted to be an artist, and she has done many different pieces of artwork. Some I put on Instagram under my handle, Dado Annie, but I also have another handle, Bread Butter Blankets, which is my project that I'm working on Instagram. But I've had this on the wall in our hallway for many years now, And that just reminded me, she actually painted this on wood many years ago. She was born in Palestine. My maternal grandmother and that side of the family were all born in Palestine, which is now Israel. They were born in Haifa and Sarona. Very sad things happening over there, devastating things. But they loved being there, but they also had to flee. They were born there. They worked as blacksmiths. They worked with the Arabs, orange groves, production with oranges. But she also really wanted to be an artist, and I have many of her sketches. And this was one, just reminded me of some of you guys who are dabbling in spinning at the moment or have done it for many years. I don't have a spinning wheel. I can access one if I want to, but I'm quite happy to knit, crochet and start some quilting soon. But I just thought it was quite sweet to see that, you know, the fibre in the staff there, and how people used to work hard to create fibre and fabrics. And that's one piece that I have from her as a memory of her. Sort of links in with my love of crafting, but also my love of her, obviously, and her dream to do something with her life. But in those days, you couldn't be an artist or go to art schools. She wanted to. She ended up migrating here they went back to some people they had in Germany, in Stuttgart, and then from there they came to Australia, migrated to Australia. But and then my father's side is Romanian, and they've also had a tumultuous journey through the war into concentration camps in Austria, and again migrating to Australia. Could have been Canada, could have been America, but they chose Australia, and they ended up here. And here I am too. But I've got lots of things like this to show, and it, you know, things that I remember and am grateful for being taught, and they've taught me many lessons about struggles and the love of crafting. So I wanted to end on that note. I was going to show you some vegetables that we're growing at the moment. We're growing kale and chicory. I'm loving growing some chicory and salad greens, radicchio, lettuce. We make some nice soft lettuce salads in the evening with those, and I've never grown chicory before, and I've got some lemon sorrel, variegated sorrel, which I'm throwing into salads, which is really delicious. I know I'm talking about food now, but it's part of me too, and we all love food. I'm just looking at the veggies now, which I can't show you, but one day I will. But on that note, I just wanted to say thanks for listening. Thanks for inspiring me. Thanks for your videos. If you do a video, if you're not a YouTuber and you're here, hopefully I know you, but if I don't, you know, maybe we can touch base sometimes, and I'd love to hear your stories too. But for those of you who are watching and have inspired me and kept me entertained while I've been sitting in the dining room working on all these different crafts I'm showing you, I'm very grateful, and I've learnt a lot. I truly have, and it's an amazing community. The people that are not even working with fibres that I know who may be watching here, it is a very comforting and welcoming community of people who I think give you hope and strength to keep creating, keep on creating, and keep making and keep sharing whatever skills you have with the world. So thank you for that. I hope you have a great week. I hope that you're well wherever you are, and one day I'll get back to this and try again another day when it's not so sunny, and we'll work out a different place. But thank you, and I hope you have a good day and week. Take care. Bye.